Okay, now we're going to talk about a different use of the pen tool, which is not to draw straight lines, but now we're going to talk about drawing an arc or a circle. And for that, you don't use defined anchor points. Instead, what you do is you draw what is called a Bezier curve, which is a curve that actually is drawn between two handles that determine the height and the direction of the arc. Remember geometry back in grade school where you used to use like a protractor to create a circle? This isn't that dissimilar. Anyway, I always think of a Bezier curve as a type of goalpost. So in other words, the handles in a Bezier curve create this kind of goalpost to then determine the shape of the arc. So let's try it out. I'm going to click with the pen tool, and this is a much different action. Before, when I was drawing the square, it was just a single click and then move to a new location and click again. Drawing the handles for the Bezier curve goes like this. You click and hold, so I'm not letting go, I'm left clicking, and I'm going to drag. And do you see these little handles kind of simultaneously pulling out of the anchor point? As I do that, I'm going to create my goalpost. So literally, that is not a path or any kind of line. This is literally an indicator of the height in which my curve is going to be contained within. Now, also, the direction that I pull indicates the direction of the curve. So I'll have an upward turning curve. If I had pulled down, the curve would come down below the goalpost. So now I'm going to come over here to the other side of the goalpost and click and drag the opposite direction. And if you can see, I have now created a path that's in a curved shape. So basically from this anchor point all the way over to this anchor point is just articulated by the height and direction of these two handles. Now let me show you how that works. I'm going to go down and get the direct selection tool here, my friend, and I'm going to click at the end of one handle, and as you can see, as I turn this handle into a different degrees, I'm getting a different shape in my arc. Now also, as I lower it, you'll see that the half circle actually lowers. So if you're using this tool to outline or articulate a shape, then the direction and height of these handles is in direct relationship to the shape of the arc that you're drawing. But this is a great way to make a smooth circular shape when you're trying to create a path. Now if I come across all the way over, oops, got to get my pen tool here. Come all the way over, I can close this path and it'll actually give me a circle because I've actually pulled down in this direction, so I'm indicating that the next one will be a downward facing Bezier curve. So when I come over here and I close the path, now I've drawn a circle. So let me throw this path away. And I'm actually going to turn off my football field, even though it's a fine picture. And I'm just going to draw a couple of Bezier curves. So I'm going to click and drag up, and then come over here and click and drag down. And you see I've created a curve. Now notice that this handle is a downward pull. So my next curve is actually going to go down. So I'll click and drag the opposite direction, and notice I'm getting a downward facing curve. And then I'll come over here and drag down, and over here and drag up. So whichever is my connecting anchor point indicates the direction that the curve will go. I can then get my direct selection key and adjust these any way I like. So including the angle and the height of the curve. So there's a lot of manipulation that you can do with these shapes. Now, let's say I didn't want a curve that went up and down, up and down. And by the way, we're going to try this out in class. I'm going to throw this away. And instead, I want to draw a curve which is going to be more like a scalloped edge that just continually goes up. So I'm going to click and drag up. Now I'm going to come over here, and by the way, I'm letting go of the mouse. I come over here, click, hold the mouse, got my finger holding it down, and drag down. Now I want the next curve to go up again instead of down, but I've got a downward facing handle here. Here's where that tricky little convert point tool, it looks like a less than sign, that last one in the list there. If I go to that, I can then, and notice it doesn't look like the pen tool anymore right here. It's the convert point tool, and I can literally take that handle and swing it around so that now I have an upward facing indicator for my Bezier curve. Now I go back to my pen tool, come over here and click and drag down, and notice I've got an upward facing circle. Go back, get my convert point. Now you can't move this handle. In fact, let me go to the direct selection tool. You'll notice, oops, I guess I already converted it. Hold on. I'll do it on the next one. Click, get the pen tool, drag down. Okay, now I'll show you what I was going to show you before, which is without converting these handles, they are on a direct axis to each other. So I can't turn, no matter what I do, I cannot turn these handles to make, this would be a downward facing curve. And the only way that I can change the direction of the handle is to go get that direct or convert point tool. And now I'm converting that handle. Go back to the pen tool, click and drag down.